How about him, Jack Mack? This was brought to you by BetUS, ladies and gents. We were back. Hopefully we got good connection this time. We were running with some Wi-Fi issues. We're connected to the big main house now. So hopefully we're good. Hopefully all is wrong. Got Jack Mack, our guy from High Top Sports Georgia channel. He's going to, I guess, try to humble us down a little bit is what he was telling me. You got your concerns.
I do. Carson Beck, I mean, he cannot turn the football over like he's been doing. But look at what Georgia did against Texas.
I mean, here we go.
If we're able to do that, if Jalen Walker is able to dominate those first-round tackles that they're saying they got.
Here we go.
What is Florida going to do?
What
is Florida going to do? I mean, Jalen Walker is going to dominate this game. What I was saying on the podcast earlier, or I was trying to say, is Michael Williams, Jalen Walker might get hurt running into each other.
Oh, wow.
Tackling DJ Lagway this afternoon.
Okay. Can I go? Am I allowed to tap in now?
You go ahead.
So this Texas team that we were all fired up, or Cowboy Hatch took a dump. You got to admit, wasn't as electric and as sexy as I think it was hyped up to be. And we even said on the show going into that game that Texas hasn't really been proven to be this #1 dominant team. Not saying they're not good. A lot of talent on that football field, so I can't take away from that. However, I do agree with you. My big concern going into this game is the edge rushers that Georgia's going to bring. I don't think we've faced anything outside of Tennessee. They've got some good edge rush play too, but I think from start to finish, that defensive line that Georgia is going to bring, it's going to be interesting to see, one, how our line holds up and how DJ does.
You're right. I mean, it's kind of like with Carson Beck. It's week after week. Is Carson going to throw for 400 yards, be the guy for our offense to move the football down the field, or is he going to throw 3 picks and our defense is going to have to bail us out? It's kind of the same thing with the defense. We haven't seen what we saw at Texas ever since Texas. So I think we're going to be able to build on that. We got a bye week, but you're right. Being able to prove it week after week, Georgia hasn't done. They're one team this week. They go play Auburn, and they're a different team. So being able to put it together against Florida, they're coming in hot. This is the true test, putting it together for 2 games in a row. This is the ultimate letdown spot. You know, Florida came off a big win. They played good against Kentucky, I'll give it to you. DJ Lagway, you got everyone drinking the Kool-Aid. That's why this line...
We're sipping on it.
Before DJ Lagway would have balled out, this would have been a 24-point line.
It opened up 2 weeks ago at 21.5, then opened this week at 18.5, and then has moved slowly down to now 15, which we'll talk about that in a minute because, again, the show is brought to you by BetUS. But what I do want to look at as well, again, this Georgia team, we've talked about it too time and time again with the quarterback situation. Can you guys move on from Stetson Bennett? But the biggest thing that I keep going to, and Spurrier said it himself, the talent on both sides of the football seems to be pretty quote, right? I mean, Georgia definitely has more talent, but it's not as, I would say, as graduate as we want to believe that it is. I think the biggest weapon that you guys have is Kirby Smart.
It is. And just that mindset of defense first, run the football, and that's why we won that Texas game the way we did.
Yeah.
You know, we ran the football and we relied on our defense. Kirby is our absolute biggest weapon, recruiting, motivation. We're going to hear a locker room tape, I believe, this week.
God, I hope not. I hope it comes from Billy's. I hope you like that. That's what I hope we get, and I can add it to the soundboard. I'm going to have to. You like that. That's what I want to hear out of Napier and Trey Smack come this game.
But yeah, I mean, Kirby is our biggest weapon, recruiting, just that fire that he brings. Mark Richt, that's the biggest, downside of him. He just didn't bring that fire. He didn't
have the it to get him over the hump, right? And a game like this, you need to have the it factor. And again, I know a lot of us here watching, I know there's people that still believe in Billy and trust in Billy, and I'm not trying to get back and forth, but this is the moment that Billy has to show that he can be a killer. Although he's had plenty of time to do that, has not shown that he has that ability. I mean, if there was a day where you could just be a stone-cold killer, you had a check, you could cross it off, no one's going to hold that against you, just go be a douche today, Billy. This is the day to be it. You have a turning point here. We were talking about with Tyler. You win this game, the rest of the schedule, as daunting as it is, seems more digestible given the fact that you just beat probably the hardest remaining team on your schedule with Georgia.
This is the turning point for Florida. I mean, if Billy's able to put up a good performance, not even win. I mean, if they're able to go into the fourth quarter against Kirby, going into the schedule that they have to play the rest of the year, going to Texas, Ole Miss.
I don't want moral victories, Jack.
But look, that's what they need. I mean,
no.
That's what he needs, Billy. I mean, I heard a report, USA Today, I mentioned on High Top Georgia, he needs to get to 7 wins. And
he's safe. Yeah, look,
he's got to compete in this game to put himself in a position to keep competing those games.
Yeah, you compete in this game, you believe now, okay,
exactly.
You can see 3 wins that are reasonable on the chart.
100%.
Look, there's a lot of fans that are going to be not happy about that. They don't want Billy by any stretch of imagination. For me, if I asked the question to our co-host Dave, I go, look, if he wins 8 or 9, that changes some things for me because you win 8 or 9, you're taking down. Okay, so let's say you lose this game, that means you win out, which would be massive. Like, how do you overlook that? And 8-4, I've said it since the beginning of the season, it's not a guaranteed playoff team. It's depending on what happens in front of you. 9-3 for the Florida Gators, that's guaranteed.
If he wins 7 games, he's going to be back in Florida. If he wins, look, I said on the show, the only game I could see Florida win is Florida State. But if they can prove something against Georgia, compete, who knows? They could beat Ole Miss. They could beat LSU. LSU, has shown that they're gettable. And that game's in the Swamp, right?
Yep. LSU and Ole Miss are all in the Swamp. Texas is on the road.
You're right. I mean, they could win. Who knows? They could win. They're not going to win this game. They're not going to win this game.
Oh, there he goes. The boost. He's feeling confident. Clip it. We need to clip it just in case we got something to come back to.
But if they get
High
close,
Top Georgia might be shut down next week. He's going to be in shambles.
Look, it's not going to happen. They're gonna maybe play close. If they've played this game close, go into Texas with some momentum. Who knows? I think they can go back home and win the last 3 games. That is possible, but like you're saying, are Florida fans wanting that? Do they want Billy next year?
Nobody. Yeah, it's a weird place, right? Because there's even guys that don't want Billy to go and would love to lose this game. We're talking about in the Discord. The guys are talking like, I would love, because we know that a loss is kind of just moving it one step closer to the inevitable of moving on from Billy Napier, which people hate here. I'm kind of tired of talking about it too, but if they win, it extends the what-if scenario. I'm always in the boat. Come Saturday morning, I don't give a shit about any of the nonsense. Give me the W. But I get it. I don't understand why we don't want Billy. I understand where people are getting frustrated. But if you rally off 8 wins, 7, I'm not sold. 7, I'm not sold. Just given that means you lose this game. That means you lose. That'd be 6, and you lose 1 more. So you could lose a Texas game, and you would rally off 3 in a row, which would be impressive. It would be impressive.
But what I think is if he gets blown out here, blown out Texas, I don't know if he makes it to those games.
Yeah,
that's. But if he makes it there and wins those 3 games, he'll ride that into recruiting to the rest of the year. Then I would ride with him. I mean, if I was a Florida fan.
Yeah, I'm sure you would, Jack. I'm sure you would, Jack.
Again,
I'm sure you're hoping for a 7-5.
If we can see Billy Napier for a couple more years going forward, that's good for the program. So, yeah, they can win a few games. I mean, their schedule is terrible. I mean, the fact that they have to play this schedule at the end of the year after they already play Georgia, they played best
Miami,
team in the SEC.
A&M, the best team in the SEC. Is that what you meant to say?
They're not the best team in the SEC.
Who's number 1 in the SEC right now?
They are.
Okay, I just want to make sure we have that. Just want to make sure we have that clear. Yeah, we played. There are 3 losses. You combine all those teams have two losses together. We have more losses as a team than the teams that we've lost to. So, hey, look, I'm not making excuses, but the teams that are facing. And what annoys me is A&M, year 1, Mike Elko, has looked exceptional. With a freshman quarterback, has figured out how to win football games. Miami is built to this point. They should be doing what they're doing. It was leading up to this. Their schedule was very favorable from the B at this situation. The only big game was going to be Florida and FSU, but obviously Florida didn't show up to the game, and FSU hasn't showed up all season. So,
and how different would we be talking about this game if Florida would have just held on to win that Tennessee game? I watched every minute of that game.
Oh my!
I don't want to bring up bad memories, but I mean they had that game.
It was you're 100% right. If this game's 5, if Florida's 5-2, this is a rank-to-rank matchup. Especially after the win against Kentucky. We're ranked 23, 24. You guys are ranked number 2 in the country right now?
It's probably an 8.5-point spread.
It would be insane. And look, and that's where I think my head's at is that yes, their record shows 4-3. In my mind, I'm 5-2 because of how that Tennessee game should have gone. I know I'm pulling a sugar out here. We didn't lose that game. I can't fathom the fact of what happened, but I know we lost it. But I don't believe we lost that game, and that's what I'm excited to see. I think what excites me too is we carried it into Kentucky. You could have easily gone into Kentucky and folded after that.
100%. I mean, they had injuries. New quarterback. I mean, Graham Mertz. I mean, they had a lot of things going against them. They absolutely could have folded. They could have looked at Georgia, Texas, LSU, all of these teams they got to play, and it's like, we'll just phone it in. A lot of teams have done that. LSU over the years, they've done that if they've lost 2 or 3 games. So, yeah, Florida, I mean, they showed grit. I mean, there's something to be said about rallying behind Billy Napier.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew. I mean, the team knows what the stakes are with Billy Napier, and they rally behind him. So the management, the donors, NIL, they have to look at that as these guys. And I mentioned on the show, DJ Lagway may be staying with Billy wherever he goes. So seeing that the Florida players' locker room is rallying behind Billy is good to see for him. It gives him the best options.
That's the thing that week in, week out that I have to be impressed by. Hold on, I got everybody looking for me. Let's take a look at the scores around the league at the very moment because I know that they're close. We got Duke and Miami tied 14-all.
Wow.
Here we go. Could Miami take a crushing blow? We got Army up 6-0 against 1-6 Air Force. And then we've got, where's the Ohio State game? Ohio State has now won up against 14-10. I'm not a big fan of Penn State comeback. Penn State need to stay on top. I think James Franklin operates better when they're ahead. They did come back against USC. Ryan Day does very well, I believe, with the lead. I think this could be a wrap here. Minnesota's up or tied now, looks like 10-10, and then Oklahoma's rolling. Ole Miss is rolling the Razorbacks 28-3 right now.
I put everything on Arkansas.
You put what?
Everything on Arkansas. I believed in Arkansas. Them beating Tennessee.
You bet on Arkansas?
At home, yeah.
Oh, no.
Hey,
Money
look,
line?
No, 7.5.
That was.
But look, they can sneak in back door. Second half.
It's over. That Lane knows what's up. He had Sankey come out today with the SEC rules. Did you see that? Saying we're going to find players if they're faking injuries. That was a shot across the bow. Thankfully, rightfully so. It was getting out of hand.
It was.
And I'm surprised because NFL has a rule. If you do it so many times, you get a timeout. Why don't we just? We're basically the NFL. Why don't you just follow that same rule?
And the fact that Ole Miss on the other side on offense is pushing the pace, you never see that on their side. But their players are.
Look. To Lane's credit, it's if you are going to allow it, that's not Lane's fault. So I'm not mad at Lane for doing it. Everyone's, Lane's piece of shit. It's like, people are going to do it to me, and it has happened to me. So if you're not going to do anything, well, I'm going to use it against you. So I don't hate it.
Is 14-3 there? Yeah.
Gage Banks is Bud, welcome to reality. In my mind, we're 5-2. I mean, I was reasonable with my statement there. So I'm not just being crazy. Again, how I would function is look, this team has performed as a 5-2 football team up until this point. Record shows otherwise. I get that. Quit being emotional.
And look, I'm a Georgia fan. I agree with that. We don't like Orange. We don't like Florida. We don't like Tennessee. Any of them. But they should have won that game. And the fact that they stayed in that game in Knoxville, that place is an insane asylum. There's something to be said about that. So
yeah, that was my thing. Is that I think that we played better football top to bottom and. There was plenty of opportunities to score and pull away. It should have been 20-0 going into halftime, which Tennessee at that point would have been in shambles, and they didn't score enough in the second half to even go past 20. So, and we scored 2 more times in the second half. So that was my mindset on it. But look, it's why you play it to all 4 quarters, and my mind doesn't matter. But again, the team that has been on the football field, that is where my head's at. Again, it doesn't matter, but that's where I'm at. Lagway's going to shock the world from Justin Mello. Also, too, boys, this show is brought to you by BetUS. I want to talk about, we were talking about the spread earlier because it opened up at 21.5 2 weeks before the game. I even texted the buddy, I go, hey, that's crazy. Georgia, we've talked about this, does not do well against the spread. Opened up Monday again at 18.5. Is now down to 15. If you guys want to get in on that action, go over to betus.com, use the code YouTube150 to get back 150% on your first deposit and 125% on your second up to $2,000. How do you feel, though, with the 15 spread? Are you liking Georgia to cover?
So the line movement says a lot. I mean, it was at 17.5 right after the games last Saturday, and immediately Tuesday it was at 14.5. So a lot of money on Florida during the week. But I like to look at late line movement. So line went from 14 to 15.5 this morning, and I believe the smart money goes later in the day on Saturday. So I like the recent betting trends. To your point, I do believe, Florida's efforts against Kentucky, that's kind of what shrunk this number a little bit. But I think as time has went on, people are realizing, all right, Georgia,
the high wore off.
Exactly. They're putting it in perspective. Florida beat Kentucky, who is as hit or miss as you can find. They played good against Georgia, they beat Ole Miss, and then they get destroyed by Florida. So they're hit or miss, they don't have a quarterback. But Georgia beating Texas, the team that they crowned as the national championship, I know everyone wants to forget about that, but they had it in stone, writing it in stone already. Texas was going to
Oh, it was
bring
not. It was a
home
lot.
the title.
The number 1 team in the country, but it was a landslide. We talked about it on the show.
Anybody. Exactly. So after that game, there's some immediate emotional reaction with the spread. So I think 15.5 is a good number. You can call me biased. Look, you can call me biased, but Georgia's going to win by 3 touchdowns in this game. There's no way. Kirby, and I mentioned this on the show, Kirby hates Florida. Georgia has a lot of rivals. Tennessee, all of them. He hates Florida out of anybody.
I agree.
He was 1-3, and you can just hear the way that he talks about the game. Like, nothing else matters. We want to win a national championship, but this is different. Like, no matter where we're at, we got to beat Florida.
There's a pettiness here that comes with this.
And Kirby is petty.
Yeah.
He is petty.
Hey, look, that's why I think Billy has to find that extra notch today to realize, like, this isn't just like a game. This isn't going into Neyland Stadium. This isn't playing against Kentucky, which have kind of had your number for the last couple of years as well. And speaking of Napier, even Florida as a whole, Kentucky did for a little bit. This game is just, and when you ask Florida fans, like for me, I hate FSU. I despise that twat muffin F. I can't stand, I just can't stand the fan base. I don't even look at them respectfully. Georgia, though, there's a respect, there's a mutual appreciation, but this is the rival in my opinion. I don't know what it is, because again, I said it earlier this year, I said this is when, as a kid, your season started.
It is.
For Florida, we would walk through the first couple of games. Kentucky and Tennessee were never a question, right? We had the streak. It was like you go into your business. Tennessee it was a fun game, but you should handle it. This is when your shit started. And I remember as a kid when we won the 06 championship, I came to this game. We weren't supposed to win that game from what I recall as a kid. We go out there and win it. I'm obnoxious, yelling. People are going nuts. And that kind of catapulted this rest of the season.
100%. Everything really catapulted in this rivalry when Urban was dominating Georgia, and Georgia with Todd Gurley's first year, we rushed the field. I know you remember. We rushed the field on that first touchdown.
That was 07, I think.
07. That's where things kind of changed in this rivalry, I believe. Like, where this came, no matter what, it's going to be close. Florida, Georgia, nothing else matters. Throw the records out. And I said that about Alabama, Georgia. It's the same thing with Georgia, Florida. Throw the records out, and this has just become an event, right? I mean, not many rivalries have a neutral site like this, been going on like this. So just the specialness of this game and how it's the tradition of it.
It's similar to Texas-Oklahoma, and that game always plays very close. Now, obviously, Texas bodied Oklahoma, but that Oklahoma team that lost this year did not go into the county fair, whatever it's called. This Florida team is headed into this game right here. So that's where my optimism comes into play. For me, it's hard for me to sit here and say, hey, I fully believe that Florida has probably I've been saying this all week, the best chance that we've had in 3 years.
I agree, and I think with Georgia's inability to start fast, and Florida's looked good in the first half recently.
Yeah.
Kentucky
Georgia
got on them
struggled.
early. Georgia does not start fast in any game they've played. Even Clemson, Texas, their defense played good.
Offensively, they
didn't do anything. They should have been up 28-0 at halftime of that game. So I think there is a chance that, last year, Florida was up 7-0. First drive of the game, they scored a touchdown. And I think this game could be similar, and I think if Carson Beck is not flowing like he hasn't been in the first half, who knows? We could be looking at 14-10. My score prediction is 41-10. So if 14-10, Florida's winning, let's say Georgia's winning 14-10. Close game going into half. I think second half, like in many games this season, is where Georgia separates themselves. Clemson, it was 6-0. Clemson's a very good team. We put our foot to their throat in the second half.
Yeah, I agree.
I think this could be a very close game in the first half, and if Florida can maybe capitalize on some Georgia mistakes, who knows? We could be looking at 14-0 Florida in the beginning of this game. I'm not worried about it. I think Georgia can come back. We saw it against Bama, but I think there's a chance Florida can get out to a roll, and who knows? Carson Beck can make some mistakes. This game could be closer than we want as Georgia fans.
My biggest thing that I've been saying all week is that our best player is Carson Beck. On offense, there is an identity. We've talked about it time and time again. The running game hasn't been what it's been in the past, but Trevor found himself a little bit against that Texas game. But offensively, you don't have the cushion on tight end play like you had in the last couple of years. You don't have a standout wide receiver. And we had Uncle Lou on, and he goes, look, I think there's this weird there's a weird conspiracy theory going on that you guys struggle of getting wide receiver recruits. You also haven't done a great job of bringing in top quarterback talent that has transcended to be something. So you've got two major areas of concern, and it's like we've got to sell that to the farm now. So you guys are passing the ball over 60% of the time. That has been your focus, but it hasn't been your strong suit. And our cornerback play at Florida has been really good this year, and that's what excites me too. I think the line and the quarterback play has been good. Even early in the weeks, it wasn't. Now the line's playing better, the edge rush playing better, the linebackers seem to be all cohesive, and that's where I think the optimism is coming from the Gators this week.
Yeah, and with Carson throwing the football, us throwing the football more, I feel like gives the Gators more of a chance. The more we put the ball in the air, the more chances for those
mistakes.
More stakes. You remember that
slows
Kentucky game?
Slows the game down. The clock stops. It allows for DJ Lagway to get more looks. All those things play in Florida's favor.
100%. And that Kentucky game, you remember that pick six Kentucky had? It was like a weird throw. It bounced off a Georgia player, hit off the ground. But it was a pick six. Ever since that moment, Georgia on road games, they're going to lean more on the run. You could see it at Texas. ETN was leaned on more than ever this whole year. And I was questioning if we were ever going to see ETN really just take a pivotal role in this offense. But I think that's kind of what we're shifting to, is a run-first game. That's what I think Georgia and Mike Bobo is going to implement here against Florida. We're going to run the football, not give Carson a chance to make the big mistake. Screens to ETN, screens to Frazier, screens to Dominique Lovett. Dominique Lovett is my X factor today. If you can find him on BetUS for a touchdown, anytime touchdown.
I like the plug. I'm trying to see if the spread has changed at all. So it's still at 15. I see somebody in the comments saying it's 14.5. They feel good about Florida. So it could be a little bit different on BetUS. Obviously, Duke's up 17-14 right now.
Wow.
Ole Miss 28-10. Ohio State still up 14-10. And Minnesota, Illinois 10-10. Auburn advantage are at 0-0 still. So some great games going on right now at that noon kickoff. I love that noon kickoff time, especially that Ohio State-Penn State game. And then obviously 3:30 is just loaded with Oregon, Michigan, UCLA, Nebraska should be exciting. Indiana and Michigan State. Michigan State's now plus 7.5. I love Indiana there. That's a game for me where I would take Indiana with the points all line. With Starback?
Starter playing for Indiana?
Yeah, he's back in. So, I mean, even more so. But the backup did well last week. So, we will see. Kentucky at Tennessee should be an interesting one, too. I like Kentucky there. It's 17.5. I kind of like Kentucky to cover. Tennessee's offense is not looking that fantastic with Nico there, and I think they can kind of suffocate them more than what people realize.
I agree. Tennessee they beat Alabama, but in that Alabama game, in the first half, if Alabama converts in the red zone, I know everyone says Tennessee should have been up like 21-0 first half, but Alabama should have been up in the first quarter with the advantages that Tennessee gave them with field position, things like that. I am not a believer. I do a show with a Tennessee guy talking about SEC preview, and he's even a little skeptical. That offense, Nico, does not look as advertised. He's going to be the best quarterback. He may win the Heisman. Bet on him. He's got good odds. Tennessee's offense is in a world of hurt. And the fact that they're still confident, they were able to lean on that crowd against Alabama. Their defense is very good, which is different than Tennessee has showed. That's what kept them in that Florida game, is that defensive front. But Tennessee hasn't proven anything to me. If they can beat this Kentucky team, score a lot of points first half, that's really what I'm looking for Tennessee, is being able to just score a lot of points. They haven't Florida done it able to do it.
Yeah, they haven't scored a lot, obviously, since the first half of the season when they weren't playing anybody, and they've looked very lethargic since then. And look, Kentucky with Brock Vandagriff has the potential to kind of cut it loose. They just haven't found it yet, and I think that defensively they'll give Nico fits. DJ Lagway, in my opinion, is light years beyond what Nico brings to the table. And so I think that was a big factor that Kentucky was not prepared for by any stretch. Nico doesn't move around the pocket. His vision is not as great as DJ Lagway is. And again, they're both, in a sense, freshmen, right? I know Nico was there last year, but DJ Lagway, again, is just light years beyond what people can truly comprehend. I'm not just being a homer here. Florida fans know what's up. The guy is special.
He is, and I was making a joke. People are drinking the DJ Kool-Aid about this line. I thought it would open at 21.5, something like that. 21, 3 touchdowns area. but he's played good. But you got to remember, he is still a freshman.
Sure, he's going to make freshmen.
Anthony Richardson was looking really good, and then he played against Florida, and he played against Georgia. He had 3 turnovers in a 2-minute span.
So the difference between that, and I'm glad you brought that up. The Anthony Richardson thing, like, yes, Anthony would come in and provide a spark to a very lethargic offense and what Emory Jones was running. Come in, sling the ball 60-plus yards, and then he had lightning speed around the edges. That was so fun to watch, and it's like this guy just elevates it. And yes, I think the same narrative was like he elevates the offense like we've been saying for DJ Lagway, but there's a massive difference between the two in pocket presence, his ability, his accuracy, his arm ability, all those things. I mean, DJ Lagway, if it was between the two right now, I would put DJ Lagway going back to last year over Anthony Richardson. Anthony brings a physical freak of nature to the table, but there was so much more that he didn't have that DJ already has.
The pocket Anthony Richardson, no one can argue. He's got the athletic ability, being able to break tackles. But, yeah, I mean, DJ does. He can throw the ball a little bit better, has a little bit more accuracy, has a little bit more control of the offense, control of the pocket, knows when to scramble, knows when not to. At least he showed against Kentucky. So, I mean, the big thing for him, I mean, the way that Florida stays in this game is DJ not trying to beat Georgia by himself. You're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to beat those corners, these safeties that are going to go first, second round. You're not going to be able to do it time and time again. You might be able to make a few plays with these wide receivers. I know, Eugene Wilson. Is he playing?
He's out.
He's out. So, I mean, he's got limited playmakers.
Eugene he had one catch last week. Eugene hasn't been what Eugene was last year either. I think he's been dealing with injuries. But, yeah, I understand.
But my point is, I think that their game plan should be, at least in the first half, conservative as possible. Not let DJ beat themselves, put them out of the game. Because, I mean, we've seen Georgia. They're not the best offensive team, especially offensively. They cannot start fast. No team. Mississippi
Agreed.
State, nobody. Middle Tennessee, I mean, no matter who they play, they cannot start fast. So I think the beginning of this game for DJ Lagway, no mistakes. I mean, that would be for Florida fans, I believe, an A-plus performance is just no mistakes. You cannot be put in a hole early against his defense. Check downs. I've been preaching that for Carson because he's been turning the ball over. But even for Florida, I look to them to probably slow things down when they throw the ball, screens to the running back, screens to the wide receivers, and not just allow him to think that everything's on him. Does that make sense?
Florida's defense had 3 picks last week, one with a pick 6 and Kermani McClain in a late time, but those things need to happen again today, and the earlier the better. I think if they're able to get into Carson Beck's head as possible, gain some confidence against this offense, it could turn into a long day really quickly for the Dogs.
First quarter is going to tell us a lot. I mean, if Carson Beck's connecting early, once he's connecting it, we have not seen him getting in a roll and then start throwing picks. It's usually he starts throwing picks and then he'll, Kirby, I don't know what happens during halftime. Bobo starts cussing at him and he starts playing better. But the first quarter is going to tell us a lot. Just a lot with Georgia's game plan. If Carson's putting the ball in duress. So, yeah, I mean, if Georgia starts off early, big, it may be a long afternoon for the Gators, but if the Gators start off fast, we might be in a fourth quarter game. I think everything is going to be told in the first quarter.
I agree. You'll get a good feel of it, and you got it last year, right? Florida goes out there, makes a big statement, scores early with Eugene Wilson. But, again, that offense was a little fraudulent, I think, with Graham Mertz, and that's what excites me about DJ Lagway. But, boys, we got 147 strong in here. Be sure to smash the like button. We got Jeremy Carpenter, Q Lee. It's about Anthony Richard couldn't read the defense, and that was the big thing, is Anthony just simply went out there and just tried to elevate the play based on his athletic ability and refused to learn the game. And, again, that's what DJ brings to the table. Is that guy is a student of the game, an expert at the game, and look, for me, where I keep going back to is people say the freshman thing, and I agree 110%. He's going to make freshman mistakes. The difference between him and other freshmen is, and I say this passionately, is his faith. I've interviewed him, spoke with him multiple times. His calm, cool collectiveness isn't because he thinks he's good at football. Isn't because he knows he's good at football. Isn't because he's the Heisman or the Gatorade Player of the Year. It's because he has all glory to God and truly believes that, hey, everything will be handled and taken care of, and what's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. And when you have that mindset, it's a very Tebow-esque mindset. It's a dangerous recipe for success on the football field because you are essentially unstoppable. Because with every, what we would say, negative turn or rebuttal or objection is, in his eyes, an opportunity to improve. So it's like you just keep getting better and better as more negative things that we look at happen.
And he has control of the huddle. You can see that. I remember seeing before that Texas A&M game, because he started that game.
No, Mertz started that game.
But he played in that game.
He played that game. He played, I think, like 9 snaps, they said.
I saw a snippet on SEC Network of him with the whole team around him. And this was like one of his – he just played one game. Like his
ability. He played Stanford, yeah.
His confidence, just playing one game in an SEC huddle, it's Florida. I mean, the tradition that they have, the confidence in himself, all of that. You're right. It gives him an edge. You didn't really feel that with Anthony Richardson. You could feel like, I mean, he had athletic ability, obviously, but you didn't really feel like he was in control of the team.
So Graham brings leadership. He brings a great presence to the team, great leadership on the offensive side of things. He doesn't make mistakes. He can read a defense. Never does too much. Never does not enough. Right? It's kind of in the middle of the pack. Anthony Richardson brings that element of can pop off one, has athletic ability. DJ Lagway is the perfect combination of all of those. And he has the mindset, the head, but also the athletic ability, and almost more so, but it's like you brought two together and you've got a perfect combo of that now.
And yeah, that is a big part with him, and is not making the big mistake. He's got a little bit of both, be able to throw the ball, run when he needs to, but really my point is just him being able to control the huddle. Not many freshmen can sit in the middle. I mean, picture it, a freshman going into a huddle in front of an SEC game in the middle of the entire offense, whatever it is, the entire team, and trying to create a chant, get them going. Just that confidence says a lot to me. I mean, Georgia going against Florida, we don't see that out of Florida quarterbacks since, like you're saying, Tebow. I mean,
Trask had it a little bit. Trask had it for sure. Look, I think we've talked about it on the Georgia channel. The Georgia offense lacks leadership and lacks a little bit of an identity. And DJ Lagway has more of that than the Georgia's offense right now. So, and we've talked about with Trevor. Trevor, I don't think is going to be that guy. And Carson doesn't seem like he wants to be the guy. It's a very weird situation. And I think that's a big thing with a quarterback is like Diego Pavio from Vanderbilt. The kid is a baller because he's a leader. He steps up and he wants to be that guy. That's something Carson, I think, lacks. It's weird. As much as of a killer instinct that Kirby and those guys bring, Carson has not showed me that he's got that dog in him.
He hasn't shown me either. I've been saying since 2 weeks ago before the Texas game, he used to break up with his girlfriend, stop doing TikTok dances.
Them Cavener twins, I'll do it to you, man.
Are you serious? Georgia needs to get back to Georgia football under center. I mean, I think that's a big part of this as well, is every running play is out of shotgun. Georgia has never been that type of team. Even when Todd Monken was there, we won 2 back-to-back.
You guys ran more of a pistol, right?
Yeah, but we were still under center some. We still did the toss sweep. We still did those things. Now I feel like we're going a little bit too...
It's almost like you've got Stetson Bennett. It was like they didn't trust him enough to sling the rock, just given his size and his stature. Carson Beck looks like your prototypical quarterback. It's like, this guy's got it. 6'4", 230, should be able to sling it. But he just doesn't have it up here.
Yeah, I mean... And I've been calling for, like you said, we've been talking about on the Georgia channel. We need a leader not only on offense, on defense. I think we found it on defense. Jalen Walker, I think, is the man that controls that defensive unit, controls the intensity, all of that. But on offense, I still haven't seen it. Maybe ETN with that Texas game last week, a couple touchdowns, really the only spark in Georgia's offense in the first half. Maybe he's the guy in the second half of the season. But my biggest point is Georgia. When they win this game, when they've won their 2 national championships, this has been the game to kind of catapult them into that next level. Like, there was questions. 2021, that was the Kentucky game. We go to Kentucky. Lynn Bowden is their quarterback. They can't even throw the football. We barely win by 1 score. Missouri the next year. You have to go to Missouri, 4th quarter game, losing the entire game. Both of those years, we play Florida, and that seems to be the get-right game. That seems to be the game where Kirby's like, hey, this is the game we have to get right at. This is a rivalry game. Florida's going to give you their best. So I look to that this game really being a propeller to the rest of Georgia's season. And I know we talked about it a lot with consistency. I think that Texas game really solidified in Georgia's minds the confidence that they can do it.
I love it. Well, Jack Mack with our High Top Sports Georgia channel. We're going to get Trav back in here because we glitched out last time. So let's get the old cowboy in here. But, Jack, it's going to be fun. I'm sure we'll talk about it next week regardless of how this thing goes. And
we will.
I'll be sure to bring the tissues like you brought to the Alabama game for you.
That's right.
On the show.
For Billy Napier, if he's gone, I'll have tissues for you guys next year. But again, I want Billy Napier to be back.
I know you do. I know you do.
I love to see him.
Yeah, I know. You guys love it. Boys and girls, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe.
Go Dogs.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Smash the like button and subscribe. You can put it right there. We'll get him here in just a minute. And again, this show is brought to you by Tacovas. We'll talk about boots and give them my cowboy book coming up in here. Make sure you guys check out Tacovas.com/high top to get yourself all sexified up, looking good, feeling good. Handcrafted boots, boys and girls. I went there yesterday. I talked about it in yesterday's show about just how great the quality is of their boots. Is phenomenal. Literally, when you put their boots on, it's as if you've been wearing them for years. I think it was one of the most exciting experiences I've had when trying on a pair of boots. It's absolutely phenomenal. Handcrafted for your own. Get yourself for you, your wife, the kiddo. Tacovas.com/high top. Trav, now that we got Wi-Fi, we are humming.
We're humming.
We're humming.
I wanted to talk about the game because we didn't.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it for the last 30 minutes. Talk to me.
Well, I mean, first play we gotta recreate the Brandon Spikes no Sean Moreno hit, right?
I would love for Georgia to start on offense. As much as I think Florida fans would like for us, DJ, to get out there, I want our defense to make a statement.
We started on offense last year, right? Because then Trey Wilson took down the field.
Correct.
Okay.
I want defense to start first, and I think you're 100% right. I want the Cam Jackson, a Pup Howard, a Jack Piper to make a statement on defense to electrify the offense, right? Because I think the big question mark with all of the defense has found itself, that has been the weak point this year. Even with the back and forth of the offense, and I know we didn't score enough against Miami and Texas A&M, but defensively, there was just no rhythm on that side of the ball. If they can make a stand and prove, like, hey, the last 3 weeks weren't fake. The last 3 weeks were real. We have found ourselves and literally smash mouth Carson Beck. A turnover, a pick, a third down stand would be huge.
I honestly expect that, right? Because Georgia's wide receivers haven't been producing like the way that they expected them to.
Sure.
And I feel like, because we've simplified our defense over the last several weeks, it gives us a better opportunity now to let our DBs eat. Because our DB room was actually very deep.
Sure.
Right? So I feel very confident in that aspect. I think we can force a pick, maybe a turnover, a couple sacks here and there. I think, don't they have an offensive lineman out? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I know they've had a couple out. I think their main guy, their leader, I can't think of his name. We should have asked Jack Mack, should be back. But I think they do have a few out. Yeah, look, both teams are facing some injuries, which level the playing field.
Right.
The thing that I've been harping on, I've said it this whole show, is that D-line of Georgia. What are they going to do to our O-line? Although it has been clicking, I think we got to run the ball like we did last week.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we get the ball on the ground functioning, it'll open it up for DJ Lagway. And the fact that DJ Lagway is multifunctional and the fact that he can do the play-action pass, he provides a different atmosphere. But you need to be able to keep that defense honest with the run game. Trayon Webb, I believe, is set to start. He wasn't on the injury.
Oh, really?
Well,
okay.
not start. I don't disregard that because we don't have a depth chart. But it's a play, which I would assume start. I don't even know if we have an updated one. Let me see if I can text.
I think we can run the football. I mean, the offensive line early in the year was extremely suspect, right? And it just seemed like recently, I mean, you go back to the Damian George double pancake, right? And that fired me up because it's like, we can run the football.
Yep.
So, and really, DJ Lagway, I think, he offers a lot, really opens up the playbook. Obviously, completion percentage is not great, but the ability to stretch the field, ability to take off and run, I think offers a lot because it's going to give the defense different looks to try to figure out exactly how to contain him. And if he can just play smart, don't try to do too much, but then every once in a while we're going to need him. Hey, we need that ability, we need that talent to show. So I think it's gonna be a good game, but I'm really more excited to see how the defense plays.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's something that it's looked very promising. It's looked exciting, and I mean, it seems the good thing is we're not doing anything crazy to look better. It's just you simplified it and you're executing it and you're utilizing the talent. So it's like it shouldn't look that much better. But then the question is like, hey, is the talent that we've been going up against that great? So we haven't truly been exposed yet. Well, we'll find out today if all of it is true. And again, same thing with the offensive line. That's been clicking better. That's been performing better. And you can't say it hasn't gone up against good defensive line because Kentucky's considered one of the best defensive lines in the game.
Yeah, they were like ranked like 3rd in the country or something like
the
that.
The defense,
so.
When you do our stats, we have placed, I feel like every time we played a team this year, Miami, A&M, Kentucky, Tennessee, their defense was ranked in the top 10.
Right.
This is the first time outside like obviously Stanford and UCF. I think UCF was even rated up there pretty highly, offensively, not defensively.
Yeah, because they could run the football.
Because they could run the football very well. They were the top offensive rush team going into that game. So this Georgia team was the, I would say, lowest rated stat-wise up until this point. I don't think they're the worst defense we're going to play, obviously.
Right.
But just given the other people, Tennessee, Kentucky, Miami, A&M were all ranked higher when we were going into this game.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I want to point out is I think as far as Georgia's offense is concerned, I mentioned the receivers and their inability to catch the football. They're not great at running the football either. I think maybe you said it or another show said that they pass to set up the run, and I think that's interesting.
Lou said it, yeah. Lou said they've been passing over 65% of the time, which is the most in the college football. They're really trying to throw the ball more, so they haven't ran the ball as efficiently, but when they want to, they can run it. But yes, instead of run the ball to set up the throw, they're trying to throw to set up the run, which is...
Right. I don't know. I think Pyburn's going to have a big day, baby.
He's been dialed.
You know what I mean? So... I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I think it's going to be a lot more competitive. You always talk about closing the gap on Georgia, right? And Georgia, in my opinion, definitely has taken a step back, right? They don't have Ladd McConkey. They don't have Brock Bowers. Carson Beck was rated, I think, like a top 3 quarterback, before the season started.
Highly talented.
You look at him now, I think 15 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, right? But he's been really turning the ball over a lot. I think we're going to be able to take advantage of that. And we'll be able to capitalize, and I'm excited. I mean, like DJ, look, the thing about having young players is they don't care, right?
Yeah.
They're going to go out there.
Ignorance is bliss. We said it with Tyler earlier.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a good opportunity to get a bunch of kids the opportunity to play. So it'll be a ton of fun. We're happy to be here. Gators by a million, baby.
Gators by a million. The energy is electric. We're here at Experience Tailgate and Duval off of 401 Haines Street. If you guys are around watching, come say hey. It's about I think $75 to get in, but
We've
it's all
already
you
got
can
a couple high top people over here, so it's been cool.
Oh yeah, we're rocking and rolling, baby. We got all you can eat and all you can drink. I think the food was demolished.
Dude, there was nothing left for you.
I walked in and I go, I was like, holy shit, I got a dog. I was able to get a dog in there, but there's still plenty of booze. That's flowing to say the least. So
last thing I want to talk about here is I believe that, because we've seen it before, right? With last year, how like we're fighting, and then we just give the game away on a silver platter.
Sure.
Right? So I feel like part of me believes that, hey, we could make the upset, but if we want to be realistic here, I think Georgia still wins, and I think what it comes down to is the coaching ability. And I believe even if we keep it competitive, there might be something that happens like 5 minutes left, 7 minutes left, where it's like, okay, that's game altering, because we've seen it before.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't believe Kirby's gonna. I don't believe Kirby's gonna put his team in the situation where it's like, no. Instead, he's gonna take advantage of it because he fucking hates Florida.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's been my biggest thing I've been harping all day is the Kirby Smart effect. I think that's what Florida's lacking, that killer instinct of like, hey, if there's an altering moment, can you step on their throats and hammer it and have the ball? And hey, look, how about them Gators? You know what I'm saying? So
I'll tell you what, nothing would make me happier than being a love triangle with Georgia and Texas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We take down the dogs today. I don't care if we lose next week, but hey, we could be in a love triangle with Georgia and Texas.
That's true.
Because at that point, I mean, it's like at some point we're going to be favored. I'm not worried about Florida State at all. Who's going to win?
I mean, we shouldn't be, but I mean, it's one of those games where you walk
Look,
in.
here comes Ty because he knows I was talking
It's
about.
just ridiculous.
Look, that's awesome.
Where'd your pants go?
I have these on because of my shorts.
No, I'm on a show. Yeah.
Hey, he's lit. This guy's dialed.
I know. But no music. No music.
That's awesome. But yeah, so what are your thoughts? Like, what do you expect to have happen?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it for the last hour and a half, but I mean, oh, you're good.
I don't know how he can hear him right now.
What's that?
I'm the owner of the whole property.
Oh, the whole property? Yeah, I'm no music.
I'm the owner. No.
Oh, okay.
I just want to curious.
Oh, yes, sir. Okay.
That's
Guest
awesome.
pick.
That's awesome.
He said he's the owner of the property.
That guy's electric.
Yeah, I don't know. What do we do? I don't know what you want from me. But he's like, I don't know. He got me flustered. I'm like, what? Asked him if a DJ.
Who's he rooting for?
He keeps like, yeah. What are we doing here? I mean, obviously, I'm picking Florida. I think there's an opportunity to get it done. I think DJ Lagway brings a factor, and Georgia hasn't looked too intimidating to me to be like, yeah, this team's just good. Like, again, I feel like this is the best opportunity we've had in the last few years, and even last year. I mean, we got
last year and the year before, because you remember how close it was until the crazy last 2 minutes of the halftime where AR
last year they torched us, but yeah, the year before that,
know
AR
what I
brought
mean?
it back a little bit. Yeah, and look, so I think that's what DJ brings to the table, is that we're never really out of it, and I think this defense has found something where we can keep it close enough to where it allows for that DJ and that offense to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be a ton of fun, dude. I'm just happy to be here. Luckily, it's not super hot, so.
No, it's beautiful.
But yeah.
It's absolutely. Jack!